So in the previous part you saw that I added some new buildings in my project using VFS. I've reverted the changes again and back to the original buildings. And we can now also look at the impact of these new houses, for example on the water flow in the area. So when I go to overlays and I select the rainfall overlay, I can see where the water is flowing when there's a lot of rain showers in the area. And you can see that this specific house really has a problem because there's a lot of water directly in front of it. So these overlays, you can see them in the Tygron project, but you can also see them again in QGIS. I will demonstrate it now. You go to the rainfall overlay and you select export grid data. And here you get a new panel with what you want to export. You can export it as GeoTIFF and then again import it into QGIS. You can also download all the frames in one action. But there's also a new option available, and that's using the web map service. Again, you select copy URL. Now it's copied to my clipboard and I can open it in QGIS. So here I have my project again with the buildings in QGIS. And I can do layer, add VMS layer. And here I select edit. I enter the URL. Okay. And I'm connecting, you see the different overlays in my project. When I select the overlays and then go to the rainfall overlay, I can also select the last time frame. And when I add it to my project, you can see the rainfall overlay in QGIS. And you can see that this specific building really has a problem, because if you walk outside the door here, then you're wet. You can also click on it and you can get more information about that specific area. So for example, the amount of water that's there, it's 20 centimeters, it's quite a lot. Now the next interesting thing is that I can also make some changes to this building. So for example, I can put it on a hilltop. When I go back to the Tygron engine, I can go to terrain and now to select, oh, that's the wrong one. I can do change elevation model. And here I have some new different options and I can make a selection based on the blueprint. For example, from an area that I made before. So when I put, what I will do next is that I will put some height around the building so it's protected against the water. And you can set all these things down here. You can set, for example, the angle. So if you want a little slope to protect the building, or if you want it straight up. And you can select the height of the change in the land height. And you can do an absolute value and set it to a specific value, or you can do it relative to the existing height map. So what I will do is that I will give it a 45% angle and make it 10 meters higher than the original. Then I select apply and apply changes. And now you can see that the building is standing on top of a small hill. And I go back to overlays, to the rainfall overlay, and I select update. And it needs to calculate a bit, and it will calculate new situation with my house standing on the hilltop. It's finished in a few seconds. Yes, now you can see that the water is flowing around it and not into my house. Again, I can also show this in QGIS. You just have to select refresh. And you see that the water is nicely flowing around the building instead of right through it. And I can also show this data, for example, in the Esri environment. That can be done via the web interface and show it in ArcGIS viewer. And here you see my area again, and I can select the last time frame. And you see the water in a S3 environment.